Hey, what's up, guys? It's Mike from DGU Crew, and I'm just back bringing you a video. This is going to be the Blue Staples video. I just want to show off our merch again, like always, as I started off. I'm sure you've already seen videos in the past on here and what the Blue Staples what staples look like, I guess, and how we've defined them to the best of our ability. So I'm going to go ahead and just jump right into it. I'm going to have just a million TCG player tabs open just to show the cost of the staples. I think most of these are pretty cheap. Some of them will be a little bit more expensive. We'll go over those more expensive ones when we get there, but for the most part, all of these are going to be under $1, and I think they're just worthwhile cards to pick up. So let's get into the video and let's start talking about them. So started off, we've got the Wanyamon egg. This is just a great generic blue egg where draw a card when attacking if you have a tamer in play. I mean, there's not much more to say about it other than that. It's just a straight up great starter egg for any generic blue deck you're trying to build. For whatever blue deck you want, if there's not an in-archetype egg, this is probably the egg I'm going with. Along with this next egg, which is the Bukamon egg with jamming. This egg is obviously limited. It's at 1. But when you see this card, you're pretty much always going to have jamming. There's very rare times where you're not going to have jamming with this egg. And the best part about this egg is that you're in blue, and blue is a great source strip color. So again, you're almost always going to have jamming. It'd be very rare to not have it. Going up with our first rookie, we've got the Gomamon rookie. So this Digimon just says at the start of your main phase, you trash any one Digivolution card of any one of your opponent's Digimon, and then this Digimon can't be blocked for the turn, which is honestly kind of cracked. So what's so great about this is that, let's say you raise and your opponent has a Digimon with blocker or Digimon with an inheritable you just don't want to deal with, you just strip that shit right off with this egg, and then boom, now he can't even be blocked, which is fantastic. So just a good card. And then it also has a great inheritable where on this Digimon would be deleted, you may play one Gomamon from its Digivolution card, so it just plays itself back out. It recurs. As you can see, you can pretty much buy 8 for $1 right now, which is fantastic value. Moving on to the next, we've got Betamon. This is just a really cheap, nice common rookie from BT15. Its on-play effect doesn't matter too much, but its on-play effect is if played by an effect, one of your opponent's Digimon can't attack until the end of the turn. That's like, okay, it's really good in like Fish, I guess. But what matters more is that it has a nice jamming inheritable, which is just straight up generic. No condition has to be met. If it is under your Digimon stack, you have jamming now. I know that Mirage is playing this right now until they get their Galgamon coming, and I think BT16 they get their jamming Galgamon, but for right now this is the Digimon that they've been running as a rookie. I think is like 2 or 3 of, sometimes 4 of, but just a grade up inheritable for any blue deck. Next up, if you haven't noticed the theme on generic good cards that have jamming, we're going to keep going with them. So we've got the Jamming Vmon. This has been like a staple blue card for pretty much every set now. Security Control used to use this as their egg. They would just run the Demi Vmon that had draw a card with jamming. Mega Zoo decks are running this for a while. Machine Dramon was running this card for a while. It's just a straight up good blue card with jamming. It makes your opponents have to swing and kill it when it's there because it's going to keep getting security attacks and there's nothing they can do about it. I went with the Resurgence booster for this one just because it was actually cheaper than the normal printing by quite a bit. So there's that. Sakamon, this is just a good floodgate right here. I mean, straight up, your opponent can't reduce Digivolution costs. With the training boost running around, this is a fantastic card. Really good against hunters, really good against other decks that have built-in reduction of Digivolution. So we love that. Next up, we got Madoki Betamon. Right here, just another really good Floodgate card. This is the Memory Stopper Floodgate. Really good card. Generic, super cheap. Gotta have your copies. If you're just playing something, you're like, oh man, what am I gonna throw this extra blue? I have slots for rookies. I don't know what to put. You're putting one of these. You're putting Sakamon or you're putting one of these bad boys. These are such good cards. Next, we got Hybrid for Game. Good old Hybrid for Game. We've long since passed the days of just not having many options for Hybrid for Game. We've got a couple to choose from. We went ahead, we chose the Kumamon from BT7. It just digivolves on top of a rookie as if it was level 3. Digivolves on top of a tamer as if it was level 3. And you can just trash one Digivolution card from the bottom of your opponent's Digimon. Just good straight up card. Hybrid for Game is strong. We actually got another hybrid coming up, and this is the Lanamon. Now this Digimon, this is a really good hybrid in my opinion, because if you place a level 3 Digimon card from your hand as its bottom Digivolution card, you get jamming off this bad boy, and who doesn't love jamming? We love jamming. Blue, jamming. Come on, baby. That's what we're talking about. This is what I'm talking about, baby. Next up, we got the, I actually don't know how to say this, Gesomon, so I guess that's how you say it, but when attacking, you trash any one Digivolution card off one of your opponent's Digimon. Then you can return one of your opponent's level 5 or lower Digimon with no Digivolution cards to their hand. Really good, generic, blue loves trashing sources, so we're just going to start bouncing your shit, and we love to see it. This is good because you can just actually just bounce a level 3 right off. Like, if they just have a rookie there with, again, level 2 egg underneath it, obviously you can just trash that and then bounce it, and we love to see that. Screw them having rookies, we hate that. We got the Ikakumon. So when Digivolving, you trash any 2 Digivolution cards from your opponent's Digimon. So good, you get to choose what you're trashing, we love that. Then when attacking, until the end of your opponent's turn, one of your opponent's Digimon with fewer Digivolution cards than this Digimon can't attack. So it kind of stuns them. It's not like a full-on stun because they can still suspend and do things, but not being able to attack is awesome. They can still block, but pair this with the Gomamon and you'll be unblockable too. And then it has the inheritable of when attacking until the end of your opponent's turn. One of your opponent's Digimon with fewer Digivolutions than this card can't attack. So same inheritable as it's when attacking. Just fantastic. Next up, we've got Leomon. So Leomon is fantastic because if you just have a tamer and play this game's blocker, but also when it gets deleted, so whether you're swinging and it gets deleted, your opponent pops it with an effect, you block during battle and it dies, you're going to gain 2 memory and draw a card, which means you might be able to just throw this out there. Your opponent swings, they're going to go for game, you block, and you just steal your turn back, which is awesome. It's also just very disruptive because a lot of Digimon, they might not have a May effect when they're Digivolved to pop something. They have to pop something. So if they're just going through their turn and not caring about what's happening, you can really throw them off by just stealing 2 memory by making them pop this. Zudomon Ace. You guys are going to see Ace cards here, let's be honest. This card is honest. It is so good. This card is so good that Mirage plays this at like 3 to 4 copies. This card is insane for blue. You just slam this down for 4. You can stun you can bounce things to the opponent's hand. It is just fantastic. I cannot say more about this. I know Varney was raving about this in his last Magnamon run, in his BT15 Magnamon nonsense, but this is just a great card. Then we've got the good old Mach Galgamon, and you might be thinking, what is a Mach Galgamon doing here? But here's what it's doing here. So basically, when Digivolving, you just bounce one of their level 4s to their hand, 4 or lower, I should say, which is fantastic. Gets rid of floodgates, gets rid of pesky, level 4 blockers, whatever. But also, when attacking, if your opponent has 8 or more cards in their hand, you unsuspend. That is so insane that it's just generic unsuspend, and I mean, let's be real, guys. Having 8 cards in your hand is pretty easy to happen in Digimon. You are drawing for like every interaction you do. This is basically just a free unsuspend. Then we got the Cressamon. What is more important is the on play and the when Digivolving. Until the end of your opponent's turn, one of their Digimon can't suspend. And the reason I love that they can't suspend, that means they can't block and they can't attack, but it also gets around Digimon that like when they're like, you could, like, let's say you stun something and it's suspended. Like Green has this problem a lot where they suspend something and it's like can't unsuspend in their like unsuspend phase. You can like Blitz Omni on top of that and force the unsuspend, or you can activate an effect to force the unsuspend. This just says it can't suspend at all, so it's not gonna be suspended, so it does not matter. It also just has a really good generic plus 2k opponent's turn. It's just good. Next up, we've got good old Starter Deck 8 Aero Veedramon, baby. Yes, this card's goated. So it has jamming, so get a level 5 of jamming, get a free swinging, we love that. But also, your turn, while you have 8 or more cards in your hand, this Digimon gains security attack +1. As we said before, it's super easy to just get 8 cards in your hand, so you love to see it. Just a free security attack +1 in blue is sick. This card used to be run in old Force Veedramon. I mean, new old Force Veedramon still runs this, but this card was goated back to Starter Deck 8. You love to see it. Mirage Galgamon is our first Mega that we're showing off. So I know you guys are like, Mirage Galgamon, how is that just a generic good blue staple? But if you're just building a blue deck and you're like, what am I going to put as my Mega? This is something to consider. because you return one of your opponent's level 5 or lower Digimon to its owner's hand. If no Digimon was returned by this effect, your opponent adds the top card of the security stack to their hand. That's just absolutely cracked. All turns, once per turn, when an effect adds cards to your opponent's hand, you gain 1 memory for every card in your opponent's hand. So you're basically, like, if you Digivolve into this, whether their level 5 or lower gets bounced to their hand, or whether they're adding the security card to their hand, you are going to gain memory off that, unless they just don't have a hand for whatever reason. This card saw a pretty big spike recently. It went up pretty high. It's like $10, $11. I do think that this card will drop again, so keep your eye on it. If you don't have copies of this, I probably wouldn't bite and buy anything right now, because it did spike by like over half. I would just keep an eye on it, something to look forward to in the future, maybe if it gets cheaper. Coming next, we've got Metal Garurumon, baby. The secret Metal Garurumon. It's a bit expensive. It is a secret. The reason we picked this for our blue staples, though, I know that it is Garurumon support, obviously. However, ignoring this entire first part, we don't care about it. Next, what's important is it has just evade. Does not need anything to evade, just has evade. And then when Digivolving, 3 of your opponent's Digimon and Tamers can't suspend until the end of their turn. I just talked about in the beginning of the video how good it is to just force 3 of your opponent's Digimon to not be able to suspend. That's fucking sick, honestly. We love that. There's no condition to be met, it's just when Digivolving, that's it. And then all turns, when this Digimon becomes suspended, you may unsuspend it. If this Digimon has blocker for some reason, that means you can block, unsuspend, block again. When it's attacking, suspend, unsuspend for no reason. It's just good. We love to see that shit, honestly. Next up, we've got Dynamon, another more expensive card. This card's always been around, $5, but I think it went up a little bit more with that ice suit trait that we just got revealed. I think people are just kind of buying these in anticipation for that, so I would watch out. I do think this card is sick. It's really good. So it has blocker, and then when Digivolving, when attacking, for each of this Digimon's Digivolution cards, trash any one Digivolution card from one of your opponent's Digimon. Again, super good. Then until the end of your opponent's turn, all of their Digimon with no Digivolution cards can't suspend. What's the theme, boys? What's the theme? Then, all turns, once per turn, when an opponent's Digimon's Digivolution card is trashed, you unsuspend this Digimon. Such a good card for this. Like, this is just so good in general. So good, and we've got some Hexblouse support coming out in the future. I would watch out for this card. Depending on what that Hexblouse support does, this card is something that's going to be so good in it. We got a level 7, a blue level 7, but you guys weren't expecting. So we've got a good old Mirage Gagomon Burst mode. Ignoring the Burst Digivolution, because unless you're playing Thomas, you're not going to be able to do that. However, when Digivolving, you return one of your opponent's Digimon to their hand, then gain 1 memory for every 4 cards in their opponent's hand. Not so different from that Mirage we showed off. And then when attacking, if your opponent has 9 or more cards in their hand, by choosing cards in your opponent's hand without looking and returning them to the bottom of the deck so that 8 remain, you unsuspend this Digimon. So good, it rips cards out of your opponent's hand, and then you get a free unsuspend. It's just a good level 7. Obviously it's a bit harder to do if you're not in the Mirage archetype itself, because you have to Digivolve for 5. But with so many training boosts floating around, memory boosts floating around, and other ways to just decrease Digivolution costs these days, this card is just sick. Then we've got another level 7, which is good old Gabumon, Gabu Bond, as we used to say, Gabu Bond. No, but good old Boff decks. This deck pissed me off so bad in BT7 or BT6. So anyways, this is just a generic, goes on top of a level 6 for 3, which is actually really good. So when attacking, if you have a Tamer in play, you may unsuspend this Digimon. Pretty sick. Then when attacking, you return one of your opponent's level 5 or lower Digimon to the bottom of its owner's deck. Trash all the Digivolution cards of that Digimon. So that is not once per turn the one attacking, so you can just attack, unsuspend, attack, and then you get to just bottom deck things. We love to see that. First option of the day is going to be Full Moon Meteor Impact, baby. This card is really good, just super good removal. It plays for 8, but you're never really playing it for 8. It's almost always being played for at least 7 and most times 6. So you play this for 6 and you just get to bounce one of your opponent's Digimon to their hand. That's just super good. Forbidden Trident, baby, a little 1-cost option. So main one of your Digimon gets plus 2 KDP, and when attacking, return one of your opponent's level 3 Digimon to its owner's hand. Trash all the Digivolution cards to that Digimon for the turn. So the DP boost by itself is pretty awesome, But if, let's say you're playing against like a Rookie Rush deck, or you're getting just swarmed with Ukomons, you play this bad boy out, goodbye Ukomons. If you have like a way to unsuspend or something, peace, get out of my face, I don't want to hear it. Great way to clear board. Next up, we've got the limited Ice Wall. We love to see this boy. I remember when this card was at 4 for the very short time it was at 4 with, and I won a locals with good old EX1 Imperial. Those were the days, my glory days, some would say. But yeah, all of your opponent's Digimon gain 1 attack and lose 2 memory until the end of their turn. This card is insane. So good. I'm honestly so surprised. When this card got printed, you want to talk about power creep? Jesus Christ. This card's nuts. This card's nuts even today, just so we're clear. Next up, we've got the good old Surai. So main, trash the top 4 Digivolution cards of one of your opponent's Digimon until the end of your opponent's turn. Your opponent's Digimon with no Digivolution cards can't attack. So good out of security to stun something. If you're about to die, just stun the shit out of something. This card's goated. Blue Memory Boost. I picked the Resurgent Booster again just because it was a little bit cheaper than the first reprinting, and you know, who doesn't love cheaper stuff? I don't feel like I have to read the effect for Blue Memory Boost. I'm sure we all know what it does, but it searches the top 4 and you just add 1 blue Digimon card from among them to your hand, and then it has a really good delay effect where you gain 2 memory. Can't really say much more good things about this card. It is just a staple in my opinion. Everyone should have copies and copies and copies of this card. Next up, we've got Mental Training. Great staple card. I will say, if you don't want to pay the $7.33 or whatever for these now, it's going to keep going up. These are going to go down eventually. We are getting reprints of these cards and alt arts. So if you would rather just have the alt art eventually, just wait. You know, nothing. If you don't have them now, you might as well wait for alt arts to come out. This price might drop a little bit. So just a heads up, but this just you search the top 2 cards of your deck, and then you can add 1 blue card among them. So it can be a Tamer, Option, or Digimon. Just a really good generic searcher. And then it has delay where you can reduce the evolution cost of one of your Digimon by 2. So going from a 3 cost, like say you're Digivolving into a Mega that costs 3, now it only costs 1. Next up, we've got the goated Hammer Spark. I just picked this one. It was cheaper, I think. I think the original Hammer Spark was like a little more expensive, but they're all around the same price, I think, these days. But Hammer Spark is just cost 0, gain 1 memory. This card won me so many games. I mean, it's not really played too crazy anymore, but I still think it's a staple. This card used to win me the shit out of games, especially if it pops up in security and just steals your opponent's turn. It's so good. So good. Next up, we got our first Tamer. So we got the good old Joe. So on play, you trash any 1 Digivolution card of one of your opponent's Digimon, and then your turn, when a Digivolution card of an opponent's Digimon is trashed, by suspending this Tamer, you gain 1. So this really costs 2. You know, you played for 2, and then boom. Now you have a Tamer on board. So any of your Digimon that are like, we need Tamers to activate effects, boom, he's activating your effects. Also, if you're just running blue in a deck that's not supposed to have blue in it, but you want blue for option cards, like let's say you're wanting to play Beelstar or something, you could run this bad boy as your blue source and start using blue options. We'd love to see it. We got Davis. I'm still saying that this is probably the best. This is probably one of the best Tamers we've ever had, period, ever, all the way back in BT3. This card is so good. If you're playing a blue-green deck, I feel like it is obviously just a must because it can grab you 2 cards. It's a 2-card search. It's so good. Grabs you 2 things. But if you're just playing blue, it's going to search top 3 and then add a blue card to your hand. And then also, it's just a memory setter. Who doesn't love memory? We all love memory. Next up, we've got the Sora and Joe, baby. This card was so good back in the day. It's less played now, but still has its uses and still such a great card. So if your opponent has a Digimon with no Digivolution cards, you gain 2 memory. That just stops them really from trying to play rookies without sources. Really good. Also, if you're stripping sources off everything, then you're going to gain memory off it. Your turn, when one of your blue Digimon attacks, by suspending this Tamer, trash up to 2 bottom Digivolution cards of one of your opponent's Digimon. So you get to just strip sources too, which could help you with starting your turn effect. Then we've got the Kyoshiro. I think that's how you say that. It's just another blue memory setter. And then your turn, when you attack with a Digimon that has Jellymon in its name or is level 5 or higher, if you have 7 fewer cards in your hand, you may suspend this Tamer to draw 1. So if you're running low on resources, it just lets you draw 1. It's a great card. Great memory setter. You just love to see it. That's all I've got to say. If you guys agree with what I had to say, let me know. If you guys disagree with what I had to say, also let me know. What would you guys add? What would you guys not add? Let us know in the comments. Other than that, have a great day. Peace out, everyone. See you guys another time.